Today I've got the lovely Mags Thomson here, who is going to give you a little the lowdown on what we do in our higher activation club. And also a little bit, Mags had a one-on-one session with me recently. So over to you, Mags, if you can just explain what it is you get out of the club and your one-on-one sessions.
Yeah, I've been part of the club. I think I was the first person to be in the club.
You were.
And so I've been there a couple of months.
I think it's 5 months.
Well, that is a couple of months, right? I find it really helpful in that, and I really try and make a point of attending the live sessions on a Monday. I think I've only missed about 2 so far, but I really try to make that point and sort of have that commitment to myself as well, right? It's all about it's almost become a non-negotiable for me in my planning, because it really helps me to start the week off, the Monday evening off, by just centering in on what it is that I'm trying to create and achieve in my life, and connecting with, okay, is my vision still what I want? But also, what are the practical steps that I need to start taking in order to make that happen? What are the things that need to make it onto my to-do list, and what are the things that are maybe less important? And what I notice is that when we do that in that way, that a lot of the things that are like that I come up with on those Mondays are almost always things around my self-care, my boundaries, it's much more the holistic stuff than the, oh, I need to talk to 10 people about my services this week and things like that. Because through the boundaries and the self-care, suddenly you have the energy and the time to do the follow-up with your customers or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So for me, it's become really important. And even if the rest of the week kind of gets away from me, at least I have that one point anchoring me to, oh, I'm trying to achieve something bigger. It's not all about how much on top I am of the laundry and the dishes. And then on weeks where things do get a little bit away from you, there's like a ton of resources in the club as well, meditations and journaling exercises and things like that, to kind of help you reconnect to it on your own, in between the live calls that we have on the Mondays. And it's really helpful to have just kind of a resource to go to, where you know that the stuff that's there is, the kind of vibe that comes with it, because because you're there on the Monday calls. And if you're a bit lost on, I don't quite know what I need right now, then you're happy to sort of point people in the direction of the resources that make the most sense. And so that's been really helpful for me to kind of stay on track and keep my focus. And it becomes easier to commit other stuff to yourself when you're committed to just showing up for a call every week. It means that other commitments that you're trying to make around self-care and boundaries and things like that become easier to also commit to, because you're getting a bit into the habit of choosing for yourself. And so last week I had a one-on-one with you because I'd thrown my back out, which is always great. We spoke about it a little bit, but sometimes life just kind of throws you a couple of challenges, and if you're not quite listening, then generally they start coming up in this part of my body is refusing to function. I wonder why. And so
yeah, the emotions are reflected in
the emotions are
if you don't listen, then they'll appear in the physical.
I always say, like, if you're not listening, your system will just start screaming louder and louder until you pay attention. And so I'd clearly not listen. I'd clearly not listen to something. But we did a session on Friday, which took most of the pain away. The stiffness kind of lingered a couple more days, but we really sort of, dug into the challenge that I was struggling with, and found some of the childhood experiences that kind of had programmed a certain response from me that was probably useful when I was a kid, but not so much now that I'm an adult. And so and it's not like you're sitting, it's not like we were sitting there and analyzing and pulling apart these experiences. It's more like acknowledging, like, oh, that moment, I decided that situation was unsafe or whatever. But now that I'm an adult, that situation's no longer unsafe. It's fine. And it's just recognizing the programming and understanding what it is that's going on. So it's just an awareness and a consciousness, and seeing your patterns. Sent me away with some homework, which I did over the weekend, and then on Monday my challenge was solved. and on
Next manifestation, yeah.
And on Tuesday, my back was completely fine, which especially the dog was very happy about, because it meant that we could go for a long walk again. So yeah, it's really helpful, because it's like the club is kind of your ongoing maintenance, and then if something kind of breaks down a little bit, then there's that extra support of doing some one-on-one work, which obviously there's more depth because it's just you and me, and it's very specific to what's going on with your client as an individual rather than as part of a group. But yeah, it's been really helpful for me in keeping focus and in becoming more aware of patterns. And even if sometimes I still react to the pattern in the way that my inner child wants to, at least I know that that's what's going on. At least I can acknowledge to myself, like, okay, well, that was not a handy move, but sure, let's go with it. And it sometimes it means you can kind of stop, and sometimes it doesn't, but it's fine. But it's at least you're not kind of a slave to your early programming. And we've done some generational stuff as well, which means that at least you don't have to be a slave to your parents' programming, childhood programming, which is great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Mags. That's really helpful, because other people don't always. It's very difficult to know what's involved, isn't it? So
yeah, it's one of these things where I always say, like, it's so transformative, but it's also quite subtle. Like, so it's really difficult to describe why it's so impactful, because it's not. Yeah, it's kind of just reconnecting with your own inner guidance system, and having the commitment to listen to that, and to amplify that voice.
Really, that's what it's all about. That's how we become conscious creators. Well, thank you for that, Mags. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.